Team USA's run of capturing the FIBA World Cup title, well, it is over. The Americans, they were stunned by Germany on Friday, 113 to 111 as they fall in the semifinals. So let's talk some international hoops with Action Network contributor, as well as a contributor to the NewYorkPost.com. That is Bryan Fonseca, who's been doing a great job of covering the FIBA World Cup. And joining us, Bryan, how are you doing?
I hit on the future, plus 600 for the United States to lose in the semifinals that I took at the start of the tournament. Also minus 110 head-to-head other versus Team USA. So this is not an I told you so thing because I didn't think they'd lose to Germany. But hey, man, it's something about this tournament. People need to get used to Team USA not winning everything all the time, and this is where we are right now.
Well, we will get to that a little bit later, and it's good that you had some kind of winning with the betting because you didn't get that with France. So at least you got something else. At least you got something else there.
Oh, I've been cleaning up otherwise for the most part.
Okay.
Player props and things of that nature, yeah.
You've been doing
3
all right.
Germans hit their overs today that I bet on rebounds. Not Jaren Jackson Jr., though, because I didn't bet his over on rebounds because he's not getting his over on rebounds.
Yeah, well, that was kind of be expected. We can get into that with American big men. All right, Bryan, this was a close one between the U.S. and Germany until the third quarter where Germany got ahead. The U.S. got down by as many as 12 points in this game. What went wrong for Team USA against the Germans?
They could not get stops. And you felt it really in the second half where there was a time where it was different than the other game that USA played against Germany last month, which was kind of a scrimmage leading up to the World Cup, where the game was oddly very similar. Germany shooting out of their minds and creating offense in a way that was able to, get through the openings of Team USA. And then you're like, oh, Team USA is going to respond at some point and eventually win. They did that in August. They didn't do that today. And they didn't do that because they couldn't get stops. Germany continued to shoot out of their minds, well over 50% from the field, 50% from three. I don't know where it ended, but it was straddling along that line for much of the game. And Team USA, they were able to generate the offense and the offensive looks and cash in on that. I thought their offense was fine for the most part, but they could not get stops on the defensive end. They continued to be out of position and foul. And Jaren Jackson Jr., who's had a rough World Cup, he's somebody who was one of the culprits of that. Jalen Brunson was getting worked a little bit on the defensive end as well. Dennis Schroeder, who had a quiet first half relative to what you would expect in a game like this, where he had 6 points, 5 assists, no turnovers, though. He woke up in the second half, and that was a dangerous thing for Team USA. And ultimately, it was too much offense from Germany, and Team USA was never able to recover.
They absolutely were not. And now they are going to be in the third place game on Sunday. We're going to talk about that right now because heading into this tournament or heading into the semifinal round of the tournament, a lot of people wanted to see the United States versus Canada in the championship game. But now those teams will face each other in the third place game, as I mentioned on Sunday. Is there still any excitement at all, Bryan, for this matchup between the North American countries, USA versus Canada? Any excitement in your eyes for this third place game?
I actually think there's more pressure on Team USA to win this game than there was even against Germany to win the gold medal. You don't want to not win the gold medal in the FIBA World Cup, but people can write it off and be like, oh, okay, this wasn't the A team. This maybe even wasn't the B team of Team USA, although Serbia is in the FIBA World Cup final, had a harder path, and probably has their C team as well. They're missing a lot of their key players, including the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, on their side of the bracket. But with Team USA, if you lose to Canada in the World Cup, then that's worrisome. I think you can go back home with a bronze and be like, hey, wasn't a great run, but better than 2019, kind of like how in 2006, they had the team led by LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, et cetera, and that team wound up with a bronze medal in response to a 6-seed finish at the World Cup in 2002. This Team USA program finished 7th in the last World Cup, and they're going to get a bronze medal here if they beat Canada. But you better beat Canada, because Canada is in the semifinals for the first time. This has been sort of your little brother. This has been something that people have been waiting for in terms of a real international rivalry here in the Americas. And these are the two teams representing the Americas in the Olympics. There may be some more. We have to go through a qualification process next year. But Team USA cannot lose this game to Canada. I think all the pressure is on them to win, whereas Canada, this is their first time here. This is house money. And if they beat Team USA, think about what the discussion will be coming back from that.
Well, it'll be very, very interesting. And you know, Dylan Brooks, if that happens, he's going to be talking a lot of smack this upcoming NBA season. We know that it's going to happen for sure. Okay, so all the pressure on Team USA in that third place game in your eyes. And this is the second straight World Cup, Brian, where the United States, they failed to reach the championship game. Should there be disappointment in Team USA not making the championship game, or should it be understood that the Americans can be beat when they don't send their A team to the World Cup?
Well, here's the thing, and a lot of Americans are making this case. Oh, but if we send Steph Curry and Anthony Davis and LeBron James and this, that, and the third, and it's like, that's not happening. And even with other teams across the globe, they're not sending all their best players. Spain was missing Ricky Rubio, for example, and that was the team that won the last World Cup, and they couldn't get that far into this World Cup. Right, Serbia, as I mentioned, missing Nikola Jokic, missing Micic, missing Nemanja Bjelica, missing Boban Marjanovic, excuse me, all the names, you know what I mean? It could get a little tricky there. But you got teams that are missing guys all up and down this World Cup. Latvia made a run to the quarterfinals without Kristaps Porzingis, for example. And Lithuania made a run to the quarterfinals without Domantas Sabonis. These are the best players on these nations. And if you look up and down the roster, and it's not even because guys are just not being elected to play, so to speak, it also has to do with, you know, injuries and the timing of things and guys being worn down and just it not being the right time or whatever. It just tends to happen. But it's not just Team USA who's not sending their best players to these tournaments. They'll have more of them in the Olympics, but even in the last Olympics, they barely beat France in the gold medal game, and they lost to France to start the Olympic run. So just because they bring their best is not a guarantee that they're going to win the gold medal anymore.
Yeah, different world right now in terms of world competition with basketball, just globally. It's just different time. This isn't 1992. This isn't the dream team out there, and they're not just going to roll over these other nations. So that brings us to the Olympics. Last thing, Brian, where does USA basketball go from here? And what kind of roster do you think they're going to field for the upcoming 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris? What could we see? Will we see the A team? Will that happen for the upcoming Olympics?
Well, if you're looking at realistically what you can see for this team, you're looking at, I mean, Steph Curry says he wants to play, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Jalen Brunson is someone I could see on this roster again. Anthony Edwards, potentially, I could see on this roster again. Is Devin Booker going to come back? Maybe. De'Aaron Fox is somebody who I have penciled in as somebody who could realistically play in the Olympics. For the wings, you're looking at Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I think realistically you could expect one or both of them. Mikal Bridges maybe comes over. Austin Reeves, I think, is somebody who could stay. The bigs is the issue. It's going to be Bam Adebayo maybe if he wants to play. They better have him because that's your best center, right? And on top of that, Jaren Jackson Jr., given what we just seen, is he really somebody you want to bring on the Olympic roster? He may have to be there. This is y'all's Defensive Player of the Year, so, you know, I didn't vote for him, but a lot of people did, despite him playing only 1,800 minutes and, you know, because of foul trouble. But other centers, like, this is where the drama is going to be, because France, if they're able to land a Joel Embiid, that's going to be problematic for Team USA, who does not have Joel Embiid, who may try to steal him from France potentially. Joel Embiid has French citizenship. This is why this is relevant. And if you're looking at the center position, you're looking at Paolo Banchero, Jared Allen, Chet Holmgren, and that's where other teams like Lithuania were able to beat you with Jonas Valanciunas and playing through their beefy center. Montenegro was able to give USA a lot of problems because they had Nikola Vucevic, and they were even winning that game at halftime. And that's a Montenegro team that was basically, in my opinion, a 2, maybe 3-man team with Nikola Vucevic and Kendrick Perry leading the way. So with Team USA, it's really the center position that's going to be a problem if you don't get Bam Adebayo, and even if you do, it's still going to be a lot for him to deal with. And that's sort of the blueprint of beating Team USA, is have a center who you can play through offensively, who can hold up defensively, who can be creative with the ball in the post, and who can really put opposing centers underneath the rim. And Team USA is not developing that. USA, period, American basketball here in this country, we're not developing centers like that right now. And that's really a problem in these tournaments and in the game in general.
Yeah, I think that is interesting going forward when we talk not just about the roster construction, but what is the development, particularly of the big men, as we move forward in terms of international play for Team USA. That is Bryan Fonseca, is doing a fantastic job covering this FIBA World Cup. Got one more day to go. Championship game, title game, I should call it, on Sunday, as well as that third place game between the USA and Canada. We will talk to Bryan after that. Bryan, thanks for the great job as usual, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.